Hello everybody, it's Claudia Lash, and I am back to, well, I'm getting a little bit better with this broken arm thing, and I thought I could do a little video today. It won't be involving a whole lot of sewing. I can't sew. It's going to be a good while before I can sew. But I thought I would let you know that unfortunately I came in yesterday and I picked up my sewing area so that there's nothing around my sewing machine. Poor thing, she's just sitting there all by herself. But I thought, if it's going to be 3 months or 4 months or whatever, why have all that stuff sitting out? So I cleaned up. I've gotten some lovely cards from my friends. I couldn't take down the things that were on my board, but I will eventually have to put something else up there. My husband put up my 12 by 12 that I had made before the fall. And so we still have a little bit of room for 12 by 12s. So things are going, well, they're getting better. And I thought I would show you the inside of my closet, which is, it's not that grand of a picture. But we decided we would try to hang the Twirlz quilt inside here and pay no attention to all of the stuff up on top. You can't really see the stuff behind this. But it's a good way to hang this quilt up and so I can talk about it. This is the Twirlz quilt. Already I have done a video on the Twirlz block, how to make the Twirlz block. I have done a video on the zigzag block, which is this right here, and going the other direction. So we've done 2 videos on Twirlz. Today I thought the next thing you would do, once you have your Twirlz blocks made and your zigzag blocks made, you also need to have some plain blocks. So my plain blocks are various black and whites. I think you need to have 10 Twirlz blocks, I'm pretty sure. And you need to have, I think, 11 plain blocks. But that can vary with what your design. If you want to change that around, if you want to do all Twirlz blocks, it really doesn't matter. The important thing is that the blocks are the same size. For the inner part of the quilt, we need to have these Twirlz blocks and the plain blocks all finish at 6 inches. So when you finish getting them, or when you cut this block, you best make sure it's 6.5 inches. And then your Twirlz block should, the unfinished size should be 6.5 inches. So that when we sew them together, we're sewing the same size blocks together. So to do the inner quilt, you need to lay your blocks out the way that you like them, on the floor, on a bed, on your design wall. And then what I did was I laid the inner part with the Twirlz blocks and the plain blocks. I laid that out and then added the zigzag blocks, lay them on each side. And I liked mine going like this. To me, it says zigzag when it goes like that. But if you want to do a different layout, do it, definitely. So we lay these out, and then you sew the blocks together in rows. So here is row 1, and then you sew this to this to this to this final zigzag over here. So there's 1 row, I think there's 7 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So sew the rows all together, and when I lay out quilts, to make a quilt, lay out blocks on my design wall or anywhere. Once I decide the placement. I put a little piece of masking tape and put a little number on them. And I think I've mentioned this before, but for this business, I would put a piece of masking tape always in the same place, left top corner. And I would say, this is row 1, block 1. So it's 1, 1. This block is 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 5. And that way, go on down. This is row 2. So this is 2, 1, 2, 2, etc. That way, if something happens and your blocks get messed up, they fall on the floor or whatever, you know where they belong. It's also easier when I pull these down from the wall to sew them together, I can see. And I don't take off my numbers until I have the whole row done. And then I will take off the masking tape right here, 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 and just leave the row, the number 1 block. So, sew these nicely together until you have 7 rows, and then sew your rows together. I believe that these seams, I think usually on row seams I try to have them butt up together so that this row is going all towards this way. No, you know what I think I probably did on this, since these are plain blocks, I probably had the seam allowances come over to the plain blocks. So that way these were going to the, anyway, get those seams to match up as best as you can. And hey, it's not that important that everything is just perfect, because who can look at, I mean, who would notice on this? After you get your rows sewn together, then after you get your blocks sewn into rows, sew the rows together, and then press and make sure what you'll do before you do anything else is you're going to take another measurement. And I'm not sure of the total measurement of this, but it's in your pattern. And if your measurement, once you have this all sewn together, if your measurement is a little off, don't worry about it. You can deal with that. That's your own personal inner quilt measurement. So, once you get those blocks sewn together, then we'll be ready to start on borders. And I will do that in another little video, because I like to do my borders sort of, well, I like to do them in what to me is the easiest way to make sure that they fit nicely as you put them onto the quilt. So I hope that you're having fun making the Twirlz block. It's a Twirlz quilt. It's not that difficult. And we have just a few more videos on doing the borders, and then we'll be done, and you'll have a finished quilt. So check back in a little bit. I think I've got some other videos in my head to do until I can get back to sewing, which may be a few weeks. But I am making improvements every day, so I'm hoping that by the time I do another video, maybe I can have more movement in my hand, and just be able, every day I see little bits of improvement, and hopefully one day I will be back to my sewing machine and back to teaching classes, and just back to normal for an older gal. Thank you very much.